All right. So, it should be live. Make sure stream is going. Like it's going. All right, so today I am going to be making a ship selector for a game that my friend's building. He's building a cool hover racing game. He needs a way to select between the different ships. Right now we only have 2 ships made, but eventually we plan on having tons of different ships. So I'm hoping that I could build a generic ship selector that he can use to pick which ships in his game. Looks like my stream is not working again. Let's see what's going on. I have to enable it or something. I'm trying to use the events. Doesn't seem like the events are picking up. Live now. Oh, so there. It does look like it's going. At least I think. Weird. Sorry guys, just trying to figure out what's going on, if people can see my stream or not. It looks like no. The answer is no. So strange. One second. One of these days I'll get this start up very smooth. But right now I still have problems starting up the stream. Kind of a bummer. This tweet. That is not the URL I'm posting it. Oh man. Rookie. Okay, so that's working. All right, we're on. I don't know. That was weird. That was all messed up. All right, so we're gonna call this ship selector. It's gonna be a 3D thing. We're gonna create it. I'm actually gonna show also how to bring in 3D objects and texture them, and so on. All right. Vector. You see in the assets don't have anything. I'm going to bring some in. So you import assets from my 3D projects. I already have my ship exported it as an FBX. I'm going to import it. And it looks like it came over without the textures, which is fine. I will get those as well. That's asset. And so on the ship, with it selected, I'm going to drag this over to albedo texture. The look going forward with these ships is sort of like a Gundam or like something similar like that kind of ship. This is one of them. I'm going to bring in another one right now. assets, new asset, and then I have this other one. Oh, ships have a collision mesh. I'll show you that in a second too. This one came in as well without any textures on it. Okay, we'll import its texture map. And then do the same thing. Pick the ship. Another color. I'm liking that look. So I have my two ships. What I want to make is something. Let me position the camera a little bit better. Hate it. These ships, I'm gonna rotate them. Leave Y. Nope. I want to go 180. I'll turn them around so they're facing me. Move them in closer. Good. I'm going to add a terrain. I'm going to move it. It's okay that the ships are actually under the terrain right now. I'm going to fix that. One. Up. Okay, now we'll also have to move our camera up. That's good. All right. One thing you may notice is this messed with me forever. See how the shadows have these lines in them, like you can see through the model? I checked over and over and over again to make sure that the mesh was clean, that the geometry was solid, there were no holes. I could not figure out the life of me how to fix this shadows. Then someone pointed me to the individual ships on the mesh rendering. When you have cast shadows, switch it to two-sided. You can see the shadow goes solid. So if you ever run into that, turn your shadows into two-sided, and they should be solid like this. Okay, so select the ships. I want the ships to slide in and out like this into view. I want to build something, like I said, that's generic, so that you could just keep adding ships to. And the list gets longer and longer. You don't have to do any extra coding, just add ships to it. So the first thing I want to do is I'll create an empty game object. We're going to call this one rack. This will be the rack. Imagine like a rack that the ships are mounted to. We'll call that rack. It will have a script. The rack itself is going to have the script. And we'll call this, let's call this ship select. Fire this up. Visual Studio will take a little second here. And check and make sure everything's working as planned. Everything looks good. Streaming everywhere, all channels. Perfect. Cool. Looking good. All right. If you have any questions, also, please feel free to ask in the chat on YouTube. Or you can hit me up directly, jason@codechomper.com. All right, so back to what we're doing. The ships here, we have this rack that's invisible. The rack needs to hold a bunch of ships. We don't know how many yet, but at a minimum, it's going to hold 2 ships. We're going to call a serialized field. What this does is it exposes it to the Unity editor without making the variable public. I see a lot of people making their variable public just so it shows up in the Unity editor. It's kind of a bad practice because if it's a public variable, then you can access it without using specific get and set methods for the class. We don't want to do that. So this is going to be an array of game objects called ships. And since I put this serialized, this is actually, I can even specifically say private, but if you don't say private, it is private by default. But there we go. I can say private like that. We should see, once Unity recompiles, you can see that ship shows up here. And it says size. We're going to have 2 ships for now. It says which ships are you going to put inside me? We're going to grab ship 1, put it in element 0. Ship 2, put it in element 1. And so now, back in our script here, this ships array has access to those 2 ships. Wow, that's tongue tire. Alright. So, that's cool. That's a good start. I also want to make some visual cues in Unity here. Show me where the ship is going to stop when it gets selected. So like when it slides over, I want to show where it's stopping at. To do that, I'm going to put in 2 more empty game objects. And we'll say this one is called on screen like that. To make it visible, I'm going to pick green circle like this. So now inside here, the gizmo, the little green circle icon. What this does is it will let me visually set where I want the ship to spawn. Or stop, actually. I'm sorry, I said spawn, but where I want the ship to stop when it gets selected. So I actually kind of want it pretty close to where that first ship is, maybe to the right of the ship, a little bit. Alright, so that's the start position. We're also going to do one that says this is how far you need to move to get off camera. So we're going to have one that's called off screen. So create empty game object, call this off screen. That, and we'll give it a red circle. Oops. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, create empty. Call it off screen. Red icon. I'm supposed to be so cool. Weird, it's like it's moving and reset its position. Huh, weird. Didn't see the gizmo there for a while until I just set it. Okay. So off screen. We know off screen needs to be further away than this ship. So we'll just move it to somewhere out here like that. Now off screen and on screen, we're going to give them the same Y of 2. same z plane of 1 of 0. All right, so these two guys, rack needs a reference to them. I'll do the same thing here. Size field. This will be a game object, but a single game object. We'll call this on screen. And for these, we'll copy this. We'll call it off screen. Go back into Unity. We should see those two elements appear right here. We can close this because we don't need it anymore. On screen, boom. Off screen, boom. All right, so our game has these on screen and off screen references. So what do we need to do with those two things? Well, we need to say how far apart are they? That's how far the ships need to move when they're moving. So they'll be off screen, but then they'll move on screen to the spot that I want. So this will be a float. Oops. Spacing. This. Then inside here, real quick, I'll say spacing equals. I'm going to say math f absolute value. The reason why I'm using absolute value is because if they were flipped, I'm just worried about the distance between them. So we'll say on screen dot position, oops, dot transform, sorry, dot position dot x minus on screen. Wait, no, this will be off screen. Transform dot position dot x. So that'll give us the distance between those 2 points. One of the things I want to make sure of is that our x values are right on integer borders. This is 19, so we'll say negative 20. So, oops. So, ship selection. All right. Moving right along. Back into here. Now we need to say we want to space out the ships on those from, how do I explain it? From the rack's position to, we want to space them out using the spacing variable. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe when I start doing the code, it'll make sense. So we're going to say integer loop count equals 0 for each game object ship. Whoa. Ship in ships. We're going to do something. First, we need to set the rack's position to the on-screen guy's position. So, let's see this dot transform position. Position equals on-screen's position. On-screen transforms position. All right. For each game object ship in ships, we're going to say vector 3 new pause equals new pause equals no one's in the chat asking any questions. It's not, since I'm the only one here at the moment. All right. Position equals, what is the position going to equal? It is going to equal the rack's position. Transform dot. And then we're going to say new position dot x equals newy, it's new position dot x equals, and we're going to say plus equals, so we're going to say the rack's position plus equals spacing times loop counter. Equals the spacing times loop counter. And then don't forget to increment your loop counter. So I actually could show you a trick. Sorry, I have volume on apparently. Let me turn off my volume real quick. Okay, so if you're using an incrementer or a counter like this, you can actually post increment it like this. You'll actually have, so the first time through it would be spacing times 0. The second time through it would be spacing times 1, and so on. Little trick so you don't have to actually sit down here increment it. You can increment it in your math function. So what this should do is when I run the game, just take all the ships and it should space them out evenly along the array of ships. And one will be dead center of the camera where we want it to be, the other one will be off. Actually, I believe it's going to be off to the right. So, give it a shot and see what happens. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Forgot one last thing. We have to say ship.transform.position. I have to set it equals the new position. Silly. Alright, run that thing. Boom! So, just as I thought, we have one ship on screen, where the other ship's sort of still on screen. So, what we need to do, not a big deal, take this guy, just need to move it further away, call it 25. Run this thing. Now the spacing's different. So it's at 25. Thinking we still need to go more. So let's go 30. You still sort of see the shadow, but I'm actually going to take both these positions and change their Z position to -2. I want the ships to be closer to the screen. -4. Better. Let's go up to -8. Perfect. Now you see over here in the scene editor, the ships are spaced out. They're equally spaced. It also show how this would work with more than 2 ships, and I think that'll be helpful. So why don't I make some prefabs real quick out of these ships. I always like to make a folder called prefabs. Then you can drag these ships into here. Now I have prefabs of these different ships. And drag out some more ships. Okay. For fun, we'll just call this one ship 3, even though it's a duplicate. And this one will be ship 4. Let's color them differently. Give this one a red. Ah! Can't do that unless I make this. Let's make a different material. Ship 3. Sorry, I just didn't realize that that would cross ship 4. Alright. So this color, just make this a reddish color, and then this one will be a bluish color ship. So this ship is going to use red. Huh. Yes. I guess what I need to do is bring out the models. Change material. Ah. Okay, so I am getting kind of used to Unity still, coming from other game making platforms. So you'll have to bear with me. I'm learning as I go. Ship 4. Okay. So ship 4, it is actually going to have this reddish material. Ship 5 will have this bluish material. I'm going to take both of these guys and turn them around 180 degrees. So they're facing us. Okay, back to the rack. The rack has 2 ships, but now let's say it has 4. So ship, oops, I'm sorry. Element 2 and element 3 are the same as the last one. What we need to do is change those. These right here. Now when I run this, you should see 4 ships evenly spaced out. And we do. There. So all we have to really do is keep adding to this list of ships, and we'd be golden. I'm going to try changing the order of these and see if it changes the order in Unity. I think that would be nice if the array was last. Yes, it does change it. So there we go. Then we have a little bit of breakup between the array and the other objects here. So there's no brown cow ship, sorry. I'll make one of these brown. The red one's gonna be brown. Just so I don't have to hear brown cow stuff all stream long from my buddy Brown Cow. There, got a brown cow ship. Alright, so when we play this, we'll space them all out evenly. That's all good. Now what we need to do is move them with the key. I want to move the whole rack over. To do that, we'll add some code over here. Now, this may or may not be the best way to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it for now. Alright, so if input get P. So I know this isn't the right way to do it, but it's gonna have to work for it now. Right arrow. What we're gonna have is some private variables called bool move. Whoops. Move right. False. Bool move. Wow. Left. Ship. Ship with a P. Ship. Alright. Those two booleans, right and left. Movement. So in here I need to say and, not, move left, and not move right. So we're not moving, but I'm pressing the key. Ship. Ship with a P, not shit. Ship, not ship. Alright. So now I know if right key or the left key was pressed. So this one is going to be a function called move. And we're going to pass, no, not what I wanted to do. Move. And we're going to pass in string. All right. I need a function. It's not going to return anything void. Call it move. Man, I can't type for today for nothing. String variable. It's going to be the direction. All right. So we're going to say switch. We're going to switch on the direction. Case. All right. Break. Case. Left. Break. And we're going to say integer. Delta equals 0. Then so if we're going right, delta will be -1. If we're going left, delta equals 1. All right, so now we're going to say self. Oh, we're going to do another vector 3. I hate doing it this way. Vector 3 equals new pause equals self dot transform. Oh, not self. Wrong language. This dot transform position. New pause plus equals delta. New pause dot x equals delta. And then we're going to say this dot transform equals new pause. Oh, not okay. Let me say position. All right. So what this is going to do, this isn't going to work perfectly, but what this will do is if I press right, it's going to move it's going to move to the ship to the right, which is actually moving the rack to the left. That's why right is -1, left is 1. Let's play it. Let's see what happens. Oh, I have to do it here. Nothing happened. Move right equals true. This is where debugging is awesome in Unity. I can actually say attach to Unity. It's actually attached to Unity, and then I can hit play over here. And when I hit the right key, do over here. Alright. Delta is -1. Dang it. Alright, stop. Input key. Alright. Now inside here. Alright. Now this should work. I could actually say attach to Unity and hit play, which is even better. It's going to attach to Unity, and when it does, it'll switch over to Unity and it actually starts playing. Well, I want to take out those breakpoints, make sure stop every time. Now, I hit move. Nothing happens. I actually don't need any of this stuff. Let me stop it. Delete this. So weird. Oh, I do need that stuff. You can't just add to that. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, I do know why. Holy moly, it was moving. I forgot. When you have the ships like this, they need to be children of the rack. The rack's gonna move the children. And now you can see it goes through all of our ships. Now we need to stop it. What we need to do to stop it. Alright, so that was a quick little win there. It's moving. But in move, we need to keep track of the index of the ship we want to be looking at. So we're going to have an integer ship index equals 0. We'll say ship index plus ship index minus. Alright. That's all good and dandy. What are we going to do with this ship index? What we need to say is if new position dot x equals or is greater than or equal to less than or equal to let me say if ship index is greater than or equal to no, okay, hang on. New position dot x plus spacing times ship index. That's gonna add the offset. And the 1. X. What's that? Equal to 1. Then we're going to do the following. Then we're going to say else. Okay, so that got a little confusing. Else, we're going to stop moving. So move left equals false. Move right equals false. Okay. Let's see if this works. And then I'll explain kind of what's going on. It doesn't work. So I'm going the wrong direction. Let me actually stop it here. Set less than. I think that's the right way now. Maybe I need to get rid of the equal. Alright. Oh, moving left works. This should be working. All right, 1 second. Okay. What is D? 30. 8, it's even bigger. 36. Oh, crap. This is in the wrong spot. The ship indexing. That's what's going on. Boom. Boom. That's going to actually be a one-time thing that happens when the key is first pressed. Minus, minus. Wait. I'm sorry. That's plus plus. This is minus minus. $39, 8, 7. That work? Yes. Okay. So sorry. That took a while to figure out. A little confusing because when I say move to the right, I'm actually moving the ships to the left. But I'm increasing the ship index. So a little confusing, but that works. I think we need to do abs here. So we can go right and left. Cool. Ship selector is working. One of the things that's not working though, you'll see here in a second, is I can actually go past the end of the array and the sucker just keeps going. We don't want that to happen. So we just need to check on our keyboard input. One more and. Then we're going to say oops, not not the word and. Ship, whoop, ship index is less than ships dot length minus 1. And ship index is greater than 0. All right, so this will keep us in the bounds of our array. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Can't go right anymore, but I can go left. Boom, boom. Well, can't go left anymore, but I can go right. Perfect. Worked like a charm. So couple more things I want to do actually. I want to change the lighting in this world. I have a directional light. I want to change it, and I want to make a spotlight. Ooh, light, spotlight. And what we'll do with this is we are going to, when the code fires up, we're going to align the light and everything. So, was filled. I'm going to say light L equal or that. So our rack have this light right there, and we can put the spotlight in it. Now I believe the spotlight has a normal transform, position, position, position. Cool. We are going to on start. We're going to set the L dot. We're going to make another vector 3 for the light. You know what? I'm not going to do all this. This is overkill. You can set the light however you want. Manually. Not going to mess with that. Spotlight on screen is at 1 and 2. We're going to make the spotlight at 1 and 2. 2. And then Z. Oh, the Z is actually what I should have been looking at on screen. 8 of 8. -4. And angle, range, let's crank up the range a little bit. We are definitely going to cache shadows. We're going to change the I change the radius, sucker. There you go. That. Play the game and see what it looks like. Poof. Poof. That's pretty cool. Alright. What we are going to do is for the terrain. Actually, for the main camera, we're going to turn off the skybox. We're going to make it a black color. That terrain. Looks like there's still a light in the room. I don't want that. I actually have to get rid of the terrain and put in a simpler object. Quad. Yellow. material. I'll make a new material. Color. And the floor itself is going to use that floor material. Oh, I did all that while I was in play mode, so I lost everything. Perfect. How do I make this thing not glow in the dark? Hmm. Weird. Like there's a fog. Hmm. Okay, project settings. I'm gonna get that floor not to glow. Hmm. I don't know. This is looking pretty cool though, and it works at least. Like I said, I'm not too great with the that's kind of cool. Let's check that out. Not too great with the lighting yet in Unity. Still learning, but here's the ships. You can select them. Can't go any further than however many ships we have, which is a decent little trick. And that's it. I'm gonna call it a night on that. Came out pretty decent. Looks like my graphics quality is crap. I'm gonna try turning some things back on. The project settings, graphics, make everything use defaults. Oh, zoomed in too. That doesn't help. That. So clipping pane's not what I need. I don't know. Maximize this on play. Let's run this thing. Alright, here's your ship. You can select your next one. I'm gonna call that good. Pretty decent. So, anyway, I'm all done. Take it easy, brown cow. Brown cow's going to bed too. Anyway, there it is. A ship selection scene in under an hour that's also generic to where you can add as many ships as you want. It will not break your rack, your ship selection. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Catch me next Wednesday, 8:30, depending on how everything goes. Just setting up the stream. Today I had some issues. They won't have those issues next time. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 8. Take it easy.